Hola to all my friends. Let me straighten up my beard here. Okay, hola to all my friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Also, hit the like button on this episode. I'm going to talk about something that I think is going to ruffle some feathers a little bit whenever they see this video. Because again, I'm in the beginning stages of my YouTube recording, so they might not see this tonight, but they might see this a year from now and be very angry with me. But the I think the sooner that people realize this, um, this the better the better off they'll be, and I think um, they'll see things the same way, because truth is freedom, and freedom lies in truth. And so, and this is something that I've realized for a long time. But Monday this week, if you haven't seen my video, I got fired. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they fired the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? In my last job, and whether or not I deserved it doesn't even matter. Um, it was very subjective, but like that doesn't even matter either. You know what matters is the fact that no one owes you a living. No one owes you a living. Them kids that you look at that's the pictures of your kids that you look at every morning for inspiration when you're at your desk, whether you work from home, or whether you're in the office, and you look towards them for inspiration and everything. Nobody owes you a living and the ability to feed your kids. You know, and that was the reminder that I received. Um, it was a very Eurocentric type of language that was used, and you know, and the manager who fired me had the nerve to ask me how I was doing that morning. like we don't know what this is, and then afterwards, gonna proceed to say, well, we might as well get this over with. But the fact of the matter is, you're you're responsible for feeding your family and keeping a roof over your head and everything like that. But what's difficult about this society is that no one owes you anything. No one cares. No one. I mean, it's politically. Well, I don't know if it's politically incorrect, but it's not good form for your superiors, your managers, or even your coworkers to say that no one owes you a living. That everyone deserves a job. No, no, no. Not everybody deserves a job. Not everybody deserves any job they want. You know, and no one deserves their lifestyle unless you put work in, and unless you're willing to continue to put in the necessary work to defend your lifestyle. Because once you get to once you just get to the level where you're average, because I'm gonna tell you something, being average is an accomplishment in America. Oh my goodness. Like in most countries, see, the average lifestyle, and when I say average in terms of being an American, I'm talking about having a house that whose equity appreciates and keeps up with the rate of inflation, that kind of thing. You have a late model car that you can drive 50 miles to work every day, you know. But now that we're in this pandemic, that's no longer necessary. That's a choice now. But nonetheless, you have a car, you have a house, you have food in your refrigerator, and you have an abundance of food. I'm not talking about no jar of Hellman's and 3 eggs up in there. You know, the empty jar of Hellman's and 3 eggs that you see, you know, at your friend's house and stuff like that. Let's not front. You know, we've seen some things, and it's okay. We've also experienced some things, and that's okay too. But it's up to you to get off your ass and defend your lifestyle or to create your lifestyle. And most of us are, you know, for the most of us who were born in poor or working class families, that's going to equate to being average. And being average is an accomplishment. Being rich and, you know, being wealthy, being rich, and owning 2 houses with over $100,000 in equity combined. Don't get me wrong. I'm someday I'm gonna get there where both of those properties are at 100,000 plus in equity individually. That's an aberration. Having $1 million, which I don't have, that's an aberration. And we need to get out of this idea of, you know, celebrating opulence, because the American lifestyle, once you can get to average, is a really opulent lifestyle compared to people who live in other countries who don't have rights to real estate and things like that, you know. Now, don't get me wrong. I still believe that, you know, as is, we live in the richest country in the world, but we live in an absolute, you know, but at the same time, the United States is an absolute ghetto. You know, we don't have free healthcare, free college, you know, and we allow women to work minimum wage jobs and force them to go to work while their babies don't have adequate child care and health care. So, you know, we still have to have a long way to go in this country, but at the same time, there's a lot that, you know, that can be had in this country with the right tools, um, with the right attitude, and also you have to be lucky enough to be born in the right family, or else it gets hard. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, if your parents are two high school dropouts, and you know your daddy was 17 years old and your mama was 14 years old, then chances are you're going to have a pretty shitty life. You know what I'm saying? Just being honest. You know, it takes a lot of perseverance, and a lot of moxie and a lot of luck to overcome, you know, situations like that. Because a lot of times when you're born in a situation like that, you're constantly being beat down by the collective ignorance of your family. Because even Big Mama, we call her Big Mama, but really Grandmama, right? Even Grandmama's stupid as hell. You know what I'm saying? Mama's stupid as hell. Daddy's stupid as hell. But like, they're stupid as hell because they had you at a very young age when they didn't have the emotional or just the real, you know, enough intelligence to make better decisions. You know what I'm saying? Because at 17 and 14, neither one of your parents, when you were born, neither one of your parents' brains are fully developed. That doesn't happen until around 25 years old. So basically, your mama, who's going to be the teacher and the nurturer of you, regardless of where your daddy is, um, her brain ain't going to develop for another 11 years. And so for about 60% of your childhood, you basically have a mentally handicapped parent. And if daddy's around, which most likely he won't be, um, just because that's just the way the universe usually works in America. But even if he is around, then he's going to be mentally handicapped for 8 years of your life. Well, not fully developed. Let me just put it that way. I can't say mentally handicapped, but not psychological. Doesn't possess the full psychological development of his brain. And so basically, you're being guided already at a disadvantage. You're being guided by two people who who haven't even developed yet. Basically, you're being raised by children who haven't gained any kind of wisdom in their lives or any kind of experiences in their lives to be able to instill wisdom onto you other than their best efforts. Okay. Most times children do not become wealthy coming from those circumstances. You know, believe it or not, wealthy people usually come from wealthy families. You know what I'm saying? Because you have the advantage of having wealthy parents who usually have a higher level of education than two teen parents. Um, they're usually pretty, they're college educated. They're usually successful in their careers, highly successful in their careers. Um, and then for the fathers, your father in that family, chances are his father taught him his trade. You know, usually when the father is an attorney or a physician, the son usually becomes a attorney or a physician. Like usually the apple don't fall too far from the tree. Well, that's what happens with generational poverty. Okay, and then there's people like me who were somewhere in between, but more closely towards coming from a working family. That's what I identify with. But like, I mean, statistically, my mom was definitely middle class. She was a police officer, and my grandmother and grandfather, they probably had really good jobs to be coming of age in the 50s and 60s. My grandfather was a mail carrier, was a mail handler. I'm sorry, and my grandmother was a manager for a convenience store. So those were good jobs back in the 60s, 70s. You know, and of course, the real the real community that we lived in, um, those families were poorer than us, and I didn't really understand that, because See, I came from a time where um, even if you were middle class, black people had to live next to black people because we weren't allowed to live other places. And then even um, after housing after the Housing Act was signed and everything, there was still an understanding that you just didn't up and move to certain neighborhoods because you know you might have a Molotov cocktail come through your window or a cross burn in your yard and things like that. But even with all those circumstances, man, American society is cruel. This world is cruel. Like you basically the families and the especially the men who are the most fit for survival not only will survive but will thrive. And so, these people in the manosphere, yeah, I've heard of the manosphere, you know, these people in the manosphere get what they tend to get the definition of being an alpha, messed up. It's you typically the man with the most resources automatically becomes the alpha. Don't believe me? Be the only one where you coming from. Especially when you didn't, advance past a certain tax bracket, but yet your coworkers still come from those communities and things like that and still stuck where they are. Man, you won't understand what it's like to be the person who's the man who's in demand. Not to say that I wasn't in demand before, because I have a lot of things going on for myself, even in my rugged situation. So I still had some advantages and things of that nature, and some level of privilege. Um, for instance, being over 6 feet tall is a privilege. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what it's like to be an average man's height, which is around 5'9", and that might be pushing it a little bit. I talk. The women I talk to will probably tell you that's closer to like 5'7". And that their complaint is, nature just doesn't birth enough men who were blessed to be tall. Okay. Um, but yeah, society doesn't owe you nothing. And even with, the advantages that I've had in life, coming from a middle class family, my mom sending me to private school until I was in the 11th grade, junior year in high school. And even then, she wanted me to be in that same, private school, but I engineered my own transfer. You gotta talk to my mom about that. She'll be crying. I wonder if she still remember that. I engineered my own transfer and had my mom just kind of like come up to the school I was transferring from to give her blessing and to sign, her name, saying that yes, my son will be attending Lindblom Technical High School, which is now Lindblom College Prep. And man, I hear it's an even better school than it was back then. So shouts out to Lindblom, shouts out to the West Inglewood neighborhood, shouts out to 63rd Street. And then of course I'm from Inglewood, so shouts out to Inglewood always. But yeah, Like no one owes you anything. Women don't owe you their time or their attention or their sexual tension. You know, the white man don't owe you a loaf of bread. Now, the white man does owe us reparations, but that's a whole different topic, a social or political topic. But yeah, but like no one owes you a living, no one owes you a lifestyle. Um, I notice a lot of men complain that women won't give them attention because, they're broke, they're not in a good financial position. And see, here's the thing: women don't necessarily care about you being rich, but women want you to be self sufficient as a man. And then they also want you to be able to, to bring them, to take them out to a nice dinner. And then somewhere in the process, bring them over to your nice crib. Whether that's an apartment or a house. Of course, I always recommend a house because, a house is kind of like to me, it's a foundation for wealth. That's my opinion. I'm not giving financial advice or anything, but like in my personal opinion, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, your house can be your foundation for wealth. Whereas when you're renting, that's cool too. You can get a fly crib, downtown or whatnot, and pay $2,200 a month, over there. But with your house, so you can't get like no equity in no apartment out, no lease or none of that. Whereas, when with your own house, and this is why I urge, young single men, to, to save your bread for a couple of years and save enough for a down payment on the house, a down payment and closing costs. It doesn't have to be an expensive house, but it has to be a house that falls within your range of affordability, which I can't really explain for you. You're going to have to do your own research and things like that. But, I would recommend at least taking a look into the 203K program and Fannie Mae's home style program. I think I use the 203 renovation loan, the 203K renovation loan to purchase my first house, and that decision. I mean, I bought a house that was a fixer upper in a good suburban neighborhood, but that decision is still paying me dividends to this day, even though I'm kind of broke right now. But that's a temporary, situation. But even though I'm broke, I still got a nice house, to bring a woman in. And so, if you're a young man, you're in your, you just got out of college, you're 22, 23. I would urge you to try to buy a house when you're not making a whole lot of money. Qualify for the house and the renovations. Qualify for the loan. When you're making the smallest amount of money in your career, you're probably gonna be making about $20 an hour or so. And so if you can afford a house, and you can purchase a house, that matches that lifestyle, where your probably going to get the house. I mean, it's going to need some work, So you're probably going to get the house for about, $50,000 or $60,000, and then with some work put into it, your mortgage will probably come out to be about 110 or 120,000 on a principal of 110, $120,000 after factoring the repairs and everything. Then you're still paying less than what your friends are paying for rent. Your friends probably gonna be paying about $1,100 a month, but you're gonna be in your house. Whether you're in a rough neighborhood or you're in a decent neighborhood, try to go for a decent neighborhood if you can. You're probably gonna be paying about $800 a month. At a good interest rate and things of that nature. So, and then as you're paying down that mortgage, your the mortgage pay down itself is built wealth. Is building your wealth slowly but surely. And then maybe in 10 years, you might want to buy another house, or you might want to refinance your existing house, depending on your equity position, and you might want to buy another house, or you might want to invest in a business with that, money. I don't know. I can't tell you what to do as far as giving you financial advice, but I can, throw up some ideas that I've thought about, that I've actually, participated in, and things of that nature. But like when you're a 23-year-old, 24, 25, 26, 27-year-old man who owns his own house, you know who's going to be the alpha? You are. And I don't want to bring negative connotations to being an alpha, because all I'm talking about when I say that is that, you're going to be seen as a leader because you're doing leadership things, whether you know it or not. When a man owns a house at a young age and is financially able to afford it, that shows a level of responsibility that's going to get you access to women that, that your average friends may not have access to, because they're going through their ups and downs. Your friend might have thought that it was a good idea at first to get that $700 a month studio apartment and just park a mattress in the corner, until he starts realizing, the type of women that you're dating and the type of women that he has access to. If and my thing is, me personally, I never really had a problem with women, because certain built-in advantages. But like, when you start doing mature things and you start buying your house and everything, and getting your life insurance, and things like that, women gonna look at you in a different manner, And like, I was dating women who were, all across the board in age, women wú were my age, around my age group, of course, and then women who were older than me too, because when you're 23, it's kind of cool to have a 32-year-old that you know, that you're seeing, you know what I'm saying, for that that time frame and stuff like that. So you want to be in demand as a man, and you want to be in demand at all ages. You know, start taking care of business. Take care of your personal affairs. And there's going to be ups and downs with that. But if you can survive and you can fight for your lifestyle, then you're going to be okay. Somehow, some way, you're going to be okay. Um, Part of fighting for your lifestyle is improving your skills. Um, in fact, I'm gonna say once you get settled in your job and everything, you may want to start thinking about a side hustle. You know, and that could be bookkeeping. That could be selling. I don't know if you make good cookies or whatever. Selling stuff on Etsy. Um, Being a reseller. Um, if you have, if you have talent, like if you're, a good programmer and stuff like that, you may want to create an app, on a contract basis. Maybe you want to create apps for other people, or you want to create your own app. Um, let's see. In my case, I tried buying rental property. I still have it, and it really is a good side income. I just wish I had three, you know, I wish I had three rentals. So like things like that, start thinking, and you're never too young to think big. You know what I'm saying? But what I mean by big, you know, but you want to be realistic about thinking big. You know, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? So if you're only making $40,000 a year, thinking big would probably be okay. Save up some money, buy a house, buy said house, um, put about 15% of my salary in my 401k. Um, maybe spend about $500 on cryptocurrency for the year and put it in the IRA, or even buying my first cryptocurrency miner and seeing how that goes. Within my budget. Again, probably about $300 to $500, right? Because you only want to see when buying cryptocurrency, it's still new, even though it's old enough to be more familiar and old enough for the banks to start getting into crypto currency and the capital firms and things of that nature. But it's still, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. The United States is still a young country. It's not even 1,000 years old yet. So this cryptocurrency, is about 30 years old, give or take. So you don't want to put your whole joint in there. You probably want to put about 5% of what you're making every year until your wealth position grows. And then, 5 years from now, you may want to reevaluate, your investments, and that's fine, and whether or not you can afford more miners and stuff like that. I'm still waiting for my Bobcat 300. I know those things take 6 to 8 months to get here. I'm being patient. Um, and then I also bought I didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of like did this on a whim, and it's probably why I'm broke. Uh, but I also bought I bought a old crypto. I bought an old Avalon 6. It's like an old ASIC miner. And of course, since that thing came out, it's like miners that are way faster, way more powerful. But of course, it's gonna cost about 10, 15,000. So, just I tend to get in where I fit in, start small, and then work my way up. I'm not saying I'm trying to be a huge miner or anything like that, or even have a big rig or anything like that. But just collects, some cryptocurrency, um, mine some, and just do it passively. I'd be happy if the whole setup made about $60 to $75 a day, after I make up all my costs. So, but like understand, like women like mature men. You know, I know all these manosphere channels might be giving you some conflicting information. They might be telling you about all their complaints in dealing with women and things like that. But I think a lot of times they're overly negative about what they're reporting and what they're talking about. I, you know, it's not that bad when you're a mature man, and when you have a level of maturity, and you have an advanced level. Because look, just doing these simple things, buying your own house, putting money in your 401k, um, and being mindful of your budget when you're taking women out on dates. Look, these women don't care about where you take them. Just take them. Don't take them to McDonald's, because you also want to at all times and in all things that you do, you want to project a certain taste level. And so, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with depending on what kind of date you're doing. Like if y'all just kind of like going from museum to museum, park to museum, y'all ain't really dressed for no roof Chris or anything like that. Y'all just kind of like casual or whatever, and y'all just walking around enjoying each other on an activity date or something like that. You had an outdoor festival or whatever, then take her somewhere where you're gonna get burritos big as your head. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be, what I'm saying. She's gonna really like being full, and you're gonna be full, and you ain't gonna break the bank. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these days expect to spend up to $100 on a date, but you don't really. But like if you can kind of like cut that a little bit, do it. See, when you taking care of your business, and another thing, read books. Read books. That's gonna enhance your knowledge. I would even say read some self-help books that will get you in a positive mindset, so that when you having conversations with women and everything like that, you're gonna come off already as a dude on a higher level than everybody else. Because most men, I'm gonna tell you, most men have very average personalities, and they're not really they don't really think thoughts or say things that really captivate women. So when you can captivate a woman from your conversation, then you really have a much higher chance of being successful with women, and having dates go well. Now some dates, it don't matter who you are, they gonna be, they gonna turn out kind of messed up. But most of your dates, when you consistently, feeding your brain, when you're reading newspapers, just constantly exercising your brain and having things to talk about, you know, your 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 dates are going to be more. Your dates are going to be successful. I'm not saying that they're not, but you're going to have an added, especially as a young man, you're going to have an added, level to your game as a man. You know, your makeup as a man. You know, and you have your own crib. You putting money into. I mean, when you start knowing this about yourself, I'm not suggesting that you go out and brag about this stuff, but just knowing that you taking care of business while you're not perfect, but you're taking care of business on your own accord and everything, it's gonna make you more confident. Which is another thing that women are drawn to. At least it's the right type of women. Intelligent women, beautiful, intelligent women are drawn um, to a person, to a man who has the ability to converse, to have good conversation with her, and and a man who has some level of intelligence because knowledge is power. I'm telling you, and maturity is power as well. So if you want to separate yourself as a young man and still, because being mature and taking care of your business financially is truly sexy, you know, to women. And sexy to yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna look at things that you've accomplished, before you're 30 and compared to your college friends or whatever, you're gonna be like, wow, this is what I did, And um, whatever you do, uh, try to limit any kind of negativity that you consume. And I'm not just saying these YouTube, videos and stuff like that, but like also that includes the music that you choose to put in. Like, trust me, um, your playlist has to be sexy. You know, when she get in your car, when she come to your house, you know. I mean, you're not gonna put no drill music on or anything like that, And then if you consume that negative stuff, do that on your own time. But I would say, listen to music that inspires you. And yeah, but like, just remember, nobody owes you any attention. Nobody owes you a baby or anything. You have all these things you have to work on for yourself. And you have to, if you're not very educated, you're going to have to work on educating yourself by reading, by watching, educational type of podcasts where you're going to learn how to do something. I don't care if it's learning how to cook pork chops. Do like, you know, um, make sure that you're consuming things where you're always learning. So, and then, the lifestyle, it's going to take care of itself. And even when it doesn't at times, you're going to be intelligent enough to figure it out, make adjustments, and hopefully you surround yourself with good friends and you marry a good woman. That helps too. But yeah, So I should have said this is for the men, but like, I'm still gonna keep this titled as "No One Owes You a Living." So thank you for listening to me go on and on for 45 minutes. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Please hit like. It's free 99. Hit like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe because I need subscribers too. So I'll talk to you later. Holla.